Let's start from before the peel. So for that I'll have to introduce you to Quil. Don't forget him at least for a little bit of time. Quil is the guy I have in charge of shortages. Essentially, when you're on a shortage, either trying to make things a bit longer to start and get it going, or you want to make sure something stays on the short, Quil's one of them guys that can do it. And he does it whenever, because I've stationed him in the Caribbean to a dislodger's lodge out of county area, so he doesn't have to wear his hat too low to not be noticed when he's shorting. Especially in this type of time, you'll usually find him on a swing airing out his feet or whatever, but that's part of business, he says. The man has zero education and is only good at deciphering everything illegal as well as food, stuff like likes and numbers. The rest he shows to his cyber parrot to check out, and the parrot does it for him because they're pretty tight. How tight? He goes out without treats for the parrot sometimes, a lot of times, because he knows his boys are homey even if he hears bubblegum or ripping tires in too short shorts. So anyways, Quil shorts. Now let's get into the Placasa peel, or PP. Rob's got a sulfur deal going from the central coast, so the tip of the spear shows the locations for necessary peeling, coming in from part of his stake on boats, not under his name on the path from Africa to the Caribbean. What this entails in that his designer coat maker somehow got into the field of automated quotations, and how they basically transfer onto the previous system grid if dealing out security. These also have sections, so the C7 in this case has a provocative incentive on peeling oranges, and how they resonate better with the geographical locations when it come onto the magnetic field, as well as soda files, which obviously ran a fair bit on the technical side, not getting technical, but more so on how the lines would show. So essentially what this means in short is that the unpeeled oranges are stacked on the necessary boats without any regard to how the duct tapes wrap around and get on their merry way. Their location on paper is blacked and whited to frown upon Michigan outside of the previous legislative spec, but the one from the C7 is hidden, and the gloves of Michigan don't get that part, meaning they're essentially seated in a tent and grilling cheesy sausages on the hope of Big Island, Ontario. A classic cookie case, acronym-wise. The boats end up in the Caribbean to get cleaned, but the oranges are stacked on rusty trucks to get bumped up nicely, before settling on Quil porch settlement to go absolutely ham on his large-scale bell that weighs around 3,600 pounds. He has that because he can't miss it, and the guy in the rusty trucks also like to make a scene, so everybody else runs to their bunkers, meaning that there's no need to hide anything, because the thing hides itself. And when I mean it, I mean the get on that bell and let it get loose on top. They smack it until the sun starts to sweat. You feel me, getting on that bell, and absolutely sending it to an adjacent plane of existence as well. So yeah, Quil gets the oranges rusty outside, so they don't seem suspicious. Because like what even is that it's got a rusty smell, and the dude looks like a junkyard, and also the insides of the oranges are a bit messy and juiced up from themselves being oranges. That would have got an import, VAT, custom charges, process and distribution of petting fees, the what are you going to do fee, general contributions, as well as lock black quad wheeler addition option to top off the sum on the oranges, wanting the ticket to splash on a different side of separations, which is Frank's systematic carpet rug. That covers the reason for homeboy Quil to run the Placasa peel, or PP, under my incentive, to make it as closely loose in compacticity and still have him get crusty enough. The man does not abide by those loosely presented suggestion coming from a distance grid. He has a switch to completely not care for that, while still caring about stipulations, and calming down his bell after the transport is done. Other than that, he has his dishes and vacuuming to do around the pool, so let the man take care of his space and move on. So what's the stipulation handed to homeboy Quil to run the Placasa peel, or PP, under my incentive? It's linear motors. Linear movement that can be band or Fourier, transformed into different wavelets of movement as a means of having the most bestest back scratcher. Not even available just there in this sheet metal shed, standing on dried out sturdy wood, as well as some kind of undeniable business that has its own variety of charisma as well as moustache. It's not undisturbing the transformations the dives get on leverage of digital batteries I get from the tapioca desert fumblers, more on those some other dry wash. Those can twist and spike up while still being linear if you ask a magnet, meaning that the magnet will slap and stick into it an adhesive of linearity, while shorts will obliterate its figure into a devastation mantled enough to take care of itchy areas. The guy loves linear drives, but hey, that's just an obsession that makes him a freak enough to join a stakeout am I magnetized correctly. That's a banana on that bed, and in his garage. At this point you have permission to forget about Quil. Then for the placasa peel, or PP, to run out like it's supposed to, he gets the geese and pumpkin carer in a cosplay suit to get things sorted and ready out of peel. And before shipping on the stands, he shorts the oranges. That's right, he shorts the oranges, and then waits for confirmation to capitalize historically on the physical flawed trampoline grounds, falling through auction on deck, meaning that participants fall through the trade, and the floor gets twice the performance per concentration on the capital designations. That gets the levers working on Pebbles Island for which the shorts to pass by and print out, once more go deviantly ham over it, and loop back on the hang dryers for paint to stick to the traders on way. That makes the oranges confirmed on shortage, and more can be pumped into the pipeline to flip each cassette 2 times on impact collisions. Next in line is for the 90th circulation, a bit of a change in Byte's scenery expanding on out. That's completely outside of stale feelings. Until then, slim affairs been more goose-fed glyph footwalls, 26-28 hand-look wrapped in fire quokka sling on an octave planted Djibouti, a fling on headdress sent on cheese, getting greater and greater with each grade of fabric party, cycling on thin postos horizontally over the rhinoceros desert to get to the bar.